Hello, everybody! Look, Chris Gore's back. Yay! Welcome back, Chris. You've survived Comic-Con.
I survived Comic-Con.
And they say that you had the most fun, that you're Captain Fun of Comic-Con.
I am Captain Fun of Comic-Con. I apologize to all of my G4 pals because by the time that they actually got to have fun, because I wasn't part of the live show this year, but it's by the time I got to have fun, they got to have fun. I had used up all the fun. So I think
fun hog.
I think Captain, I'm kind of a fun hog. How's it going, everybody? True Brett, Carla Martin, 69, Dave XD, Ocean Chevy.
And the other 793 people who were just looking.
Yes, well, the Batkini party, we were just talking about that. I have some pictures. If you were unable to attend, the whole idea behind the Batkini party was Saturday is the day that I don't go to Comic-Con. Saturday afternoon, like about 3 in the afternoon, I'll get pictures of margaritas, and I'll lay by the pool with a bunch of people who just, the con is too crowded. Yeah. It's all the big panels that you can't get into. So I always like to just hang out by the pool on Saturday. I thought I would add a theme to it this year. So I had what I called a Batkini party, and I brought down a bunch of like cheap Batman masks you can get at like, toy store, and then some Batman stickers and some other Bat-related gear. And well, I dressed up like this. I don't know if you can see that.
Wait a second. I see shorts and a sticker and a Batman.
Yeah, but it got more interesting as other people got involved. Like,
cute girl.
They're on my these pics are on my Facebook. So if you just can you see?
I can sort of see it.
It's a
little glary, but yeah.
A little glary, but yeah. If you go to like there's I do a fan page on Facebook.
I think you do.
It's facebook.com/I like Chris Gore.
Go like Chris Gore on Facebook.
So if you go to that, I posted the gallery of all those pictures you can see, and holy crap, if you guys are looking at it right now, you should totally have another window open with this.
Yeah.
The Batkini party. It's like, yeah, exactly. And then the other thing I did, I want to show you guys this other picture, because I want to show you a trick. I want to show you the coolest trick ever. Okay. I ran into old and dear friend Allison Haslett. Okay, so one thing I had her do was, you can't see her, but she's holding a lightsaber. Can you guys see?
Yeah, they can.
Kind of see that lightsaber picture? And in fact, I got a whole bunch of photos. Check it out.
Right.
People with lightsabers.
Okay. Lightsabers.
So you see the lightsabers. Will they ever remake Blazing Saddles? Hopefully not.
You don't mess with Mel Brooks.
Yeah, but I also think that to be serious on that, I think that spoof comedies, of which I made a spoof comedy. I wrote and produced a spoof comedy called My Big Fat Independent Movie. I think that those movies have kind of gone away in favor of the more Edgar Wright one, where it's like, not only is it a spoof, it's also something that is a tribute to the genre. So, like, not only is Shaun of the Dead a great spoof of zombie movies, in addition to that, there's also a really good zombie movie. Whereas a lot of the like spoofs are just making fun of it, but I feel like they don't love it, whereas Edgar Wright loves it, which is why they're done so well. So here's how to actually, with your phone camera, you guys all have phone cameras, everybody nod at once. I know it's laggy, but if I get you all nodding, I'll know that you guys all have phone cams and they all have flashes.
The one who doesn't.
Oh, you can't understand me. Hillux Taco, you can't understand me. Is there something wrong with the audio?
I don't think so. They would have said, oh, it's just
it's laggy.
Sorry. Try refreshing your browser.
Ooh, try refreshing the browser. This is the coolest trick. And
you don't have a straw to do it.
Yeah, you just need a straw or I know, something you guys might have. Do you guys own any Star Wars action figures and they have lightsabers?
I have one.
Do you have one?
Go find it. Okay, keep talking.
Here's what you do. Why did I not say that? This trick works with a translucent straw. Pick your color, red, green, blue, pink. The audio is super loud. Oh, that's cool. I'm sorry. Should we turn it down? So what you do, I want you guys to all, you must have a Star Wars action figure that has a lightsaber. Just get the lightsaber part. Or get if you have a cocktail that has a stirrer in it, it's just got to be translucent. A straw, crazy straws, I don't know if it'll totally work. This completely works with lightsabers from action figures. I'm going to demonstrate it. take your camera phone, okay, and go to your camera. In the settings, put the flash on, no matter what, right? So you put the flash on, okay? Now here's what I'm going to do.
I thought this was big enough.
This is, yes.
You also have double-sided dark.
Okay, yeah, I'll use the blue one first. So I have a blue lightsaber, and I have my camera with the settings with the flash on, okay? Now what I'm going to do is I am going to take a photo of Courtney, and she's going to pose as if she's holding a lightsaber. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the lightsaber and I'm going to put it in front of the lens, and I'm going to position it to match where your hands are. Okay?
Okay.
And I'm going to take a photo of you. So, Courtney, if you could pose for me.
You got
and
it.
pose, hold your hand like you were holding a lightsaber. Okay? I'm going to bring it close to the lens. Let me show you the photo.
Oh, wow. You have to send that to me. I like
And
that.
so Courtney will tweet this photo. I'll retweet the picture so you guys can see. That is how you do it. Let's do it with a red one now.
Okay.
So
Double lightsaber. That'll be
well, what I'm going to do, just like your hand, just like you're holding it again, and do a different pose.
Okay.
Like maybe you're holding it out, or you're like, yeah, like, oh, that's great. Okay, so let's go to the camera now. Same settings, and I'm going to do the same deal. I'm going to position you. I'm putting it right there.
I'm blocking my face.
Yeah. Bring it down a little bit. Your hands a little bit. Okay, that's great. Wait, one more. Let's do one more. Oh, wait, I gotta do one more. It turns out like this.
That's awesome! That's not going to be like when you
Okay, it's not an app. That's not, it's just a dumb trick.
Holding it
I'm holding a lightsaber like this. I'm holding it like that. It also works with like a blaster, so you could be like, with the blast. You could do that Han Solo pose. You know, and then you could have like a blast coming out of it.
I see.
So Courtney will tweet this, and I'll retweet it. That's how you do it. It's as simple as that. There's a guy that was selling these at Comic-Con. They're called light sticks. I think you just go to lightsticks.com. Works with a phaser. You can make it a phaser. You can make it work because the reason it works is because the flash reflects off of the color of this. In addition, because it's close to the lens, it's out of focus. So the focal plane is Courtney, right? Your subject. This is out of focus because it's close to the lens, which makes it look, it just makes it look, sort of give it that sort of, you know, the feel of a lightsaber, sort of, you know, and then, but the flash going off of it, it's a cool effect. Obviously, I'll send you all these pictures. And
awesome. Just send me on Twitter or Facebook or something.
Yes.
I definitely want those.
Among other little things, actually, and something, if I can throw out a plug for something. I'm doing a show for Machinima called Craft Holes. Right. And Craft Holes is about, it'll work with any camera, actually. I just say a lot of people have, you know, camera phones, and it's a fun thing to do at a bar. Like, if you go to a bar, like, I mean, you could use some nerds. If you're at a bar with a bunch of nerds, I was doing it all weekend and tweeting out the pictures. Actually, if you go on my Twitter, there's one of Allison and other people.
That's Chris Gore.
It's at that Chris Gore. But I did the show, like 9 episodes of a show called Craft Holes, and it's simple. It works with any iPhone. Yeah, just make sure you turn the XX Music Man XX. Just turn on the flash. Yes. Don't put it on auto. Put the flash on. It actually even works better in a well-lit situation where you wouldn't need a flash, because the flash adds the burst off of the transparent. And this works with a straw. I've taken like a clear straw, clear like blue straw, and just done it. So yeah, you'll tweak the pics.
So
and
glad
then,
I brought in
my
dudes now.
So Craft Holes is the same thing, like where I'm just making stuff, like, you know, tricking out my wardrobe, my car. I show you, like, I got this scrape on my car, and this was so frustrating. You know, like, I was just parked in LA. Somebody scraped the side of my car. There's even a Craft Holes Twitter, just at Craft Holes, and a Facebook group, which is just facebook.com/craftholes. And I post photos of, if you actually go to the Craft Holes Facebook group, there's a ton of pictures of stuff I've made.
I'm going to have to join that, because you have so many amazing ideas.
But they're just simple things where I'm like, this is dumb. Like I took, like, my, I had these Star Wars cup toppers, which they had at, like, I think they were like Kentucky Fried Chicken. And I took the R2-D2s and I actually made all my cleaning spray bottles are different colored R2-D2s.
Oh, that's adorable.
And then I made, I did a Batman one, actually, just recently. I'll show you the Batman one I made. So, like, if you go in my house, all the stuff is nerdy. But it's usually, I've just changed something. And I'm working on George Lucas. I'm not sure if he approves. But all I'm doing is modifying stuff that I already have. It's just, what am I going to do with the Star Wars cup topper? That's not really a thing. So I thought, well, like, I can actually make it better. So I've got it. I got it. It's right. I'll tweet a picture of it for my bat. Chris, here it is. This is a Batman one I made.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's just, what it is, it's a cleaning bottle, and I took this cheap Batman thing, and I just glued it together, and it actually has a vinyl cape that I cut on the back. It's stupid, but, and I did this thing where I made, the first episode is about how I made a flight stick for the PS3 controller, because the problem with the PS3 dual axis controller is if you're using it like, using the dual axis part, you go like this and this, which takes so long. It's physically, if you're using one that, it makes no sense.
Tired. It's not as fun.
Makes no sense. All I did was add a tiny flight stick on the bottom with some glue made out of it was an Axe body wash sampler trial bottle, which was like $1. And I put some sand in it, I sealed the top, I sealed the thing, and I screw it like right, it just screws onto the bottom of the, there's pictures on the Facebook page, facebook.com/craftholes. So the ones that I'm making are particularly sophisticated. Most of my mods are not like taking apart some electronic thing, and I know that like I've done stuff like that, but I think that like when you're dealing with something that's sophisticated, a 3-minute video is not enough. My mods are very simple, like I was telling you about my car.
Step by step.
Step by step. I try to say, here's the tools exactly. Geek Shuey. That's kind of Geek Shuey, yeah. I'm kind of someone said I'm the Martha Stewart of nerds.
I think that was me.
That was Martha, yeah, I'm the Martha Stewart of nerds. It's like, I come up with these stupid things, but usually it's because like, that doesn't exist. That should exist. Yes. But the flight stick thing is really useful because I love that game Flower. Does anyone here have Flower? Raise your hands. Or say Flower. I believe that there's not a Justice League plug at the end of Dark Knight Rises. I do know that they are showing the Man of Steel trailer is officially now, it's been announced. I knew that for a while, but it's now official. Yeah, there is a Pocket Beer group, too. Thanks, Eddie Steak.
Yeah.
I like your last name. It's my favorite treat.
Right, so the car,
so the whole thing, okay, well, I'll get to the car, but the flight stick works because when your hand is holding the flight stick, you just go like this. So my favorite game that uses the flight stick is Flower. If you put your hand on top, I love Louis with Louis C.K. He's a modern day Woody Allen. So, anyways, yes, please, no Dark Knight Rises spoilers. I've got tickets to see it both. Because I didn't go to the critic screening. I'm not a fan of I hate to say this, I'm not a fan of critic screenings because I think that they're boring. It's like movie critics, and it's not, there's not the most exciting group. The energy in the room. You know what? I have tickets for midnight at the ArcLight in LA, and I won tickets through the Mountain Dew promotion, but I don't know where the screening is.
Oh, you think they tell you if you won? I
sent them my information, and I haven't, gotten the follow-up. Anyways, so the flight stick works really well with games like Flower because all you're doing is using it like you would that game. It's more natural than using it like this. I'm not a fan of the PS3 controller. As for my car, I got a scrape on my car. I was just parked in LA.
It happens.
Someone scraped the side of my car, and I'm like, it's $600 to fix it. And I'm the kind of person that I already had a dent in the back of my car. Can I tell you how I fixed it? I got a little dent. Someone hit me. I took a bumper sticker and I put a sticker over the bump, over the dent. So it cost me $1 to fix that.
And then your car has more personality.
It has more personality. I mean, my car is all true. Actually, I think there's pictures of my car in that Facebook group too.
Okay, well, there you go.
So what I did was with my car is I saw the scrape on the side. Everyone was like, it'll be $600 to fix it. What I ended up doing was I got these really cool. You can get these on Etsy. It's a swarm of bats, and it's supposed to be, and these things look like, do you guys know what color forms are?
Yes.
Those toys that you had as a kid that like...
They're not quite sticky stickers,
they're
but
not sticky stickers.
You can peel them off and put them on stuff.
Right, they peel, and they don't have adhesive. That's what's cool about it. It sticks perfectly to a car. If your car is like waxed and clean, these will not come off. So I got 2 swarms of bats, one in one direction, one going the other direction, okay? And I basically placed them to cover the scrape. Then I augmented so it looks like there's a swarm of bats coming off the back wheels of both sides of the car. And then I went kind of further and I put like a Batman logo on the front, which I made from a belt buckle.
Nice.
I put it over. I have a RAV4, so it's technically the smallest SUV you can get, and I like the idea because I like to haul stuff, but I don't want to have a big car. I'm not a Navigator guy. So Batmobile, I got to say, Tumbler, kind of tight, like the Tumbler, and with the recent Batman, and I also like the '66 one, Adam West. I used to have the Corgi when I was a kid. You know the Corgi version of that. You can look it up online. They've reintroduced it. I bought a new old stock version of it. That's how hardcore I am. So, and it had these rockets that fire out of the back, which they would never make it with now. Christian Bale, gotta go Christian Bale. But Adam West was cool. Like it was a different tone. And what a lot of people don't know, what a lot of people don't know, the Adam West series introduced Commissioner Gordon.
Oh.
There's no Commissioner Gordon in the comic books at that time in 1966. The reason they needed Commissioner Gordon in the '66 Batman was they needed someone to be Captain Narrative.
Right.
Captain Narrative is what I call anyone that appears in a movie that tells you what's happening in the movie that you can already see. So it's sort of Captain Narrative, or I call him Captain Obvious. Yeah. Like, if we don't get those ships off this thing, the thing is going to blow up. What we have to do is go over here and defuse the thing, which happens in every action movie.
Yeah.
It's really
what
funny.
What did you say? They just called it a bomb threat?
Yeah, exactly.
They're actually showing it to you. They just tell you what to say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, Basil exposition. Thank you, Dark Slacker. But there's a character like that that's in Batman Begins that while the train is going, he's just the guy at the control tower going, if that thing doesn't... Because the other characters are too busy to do all that stuff. So... In any case, so that's how I tricked out my car. It's funny, you guys, Bill's voice, I like it, but I just do, a lot of you know that I do stand-up comedy. I've been doing stand-up comedy shows, building up to putting out an album in the fall. I'm going to be putting out an album, Cool. I'm putting out an album. It's a weird mix of, like, geeky humor and stuff I think you guys will like. If you listen to my podcast on iTunes, Podcrash, or on Stitcher, you'll get a taste of what my comedy is. It's kind of a comedy podcast anyways. Who here listens to my podcast? Anyone? Podcrash. The premise is I'm too lazy to do a podcast, so I just go on other people's podcasts, and every podcast I go on is different. So, Carla Martin 69, why are you not listening to my podcast every week? You need to download all of them and catch up. I am upset. I'm looking at you now. Shame on you, Carla Martin 69. Yes. Say it, cover your face. So Podcrash is, it's sort of, someone described it as it's like a sampler platter of podcasts. Like I'm always a guest on a different podcast every week, so you get to hear a different podcast, and then I'm the guest, which is this thread, and then I've done everything from like comedy podcasts, film, DVD, comic books. I did a horror podcast. I've done geeky podcasts. I did a podcast for bikers called Wheel Nerds because I used to ride a motorcycle. So, back to the '66 Batman Commissioner Gordon thing. Have I told you that I have ADD and I'm a little OCD? Yeah. Well, if you see all my stuff on Craft Holes, you'll see why I'm that. His character was introduced, but he was so popular in the TV show, they just sort of wove him into, he worked his way into the comic later in the '60s so that there was some consistency. Right. So actually, I read a book about ADD, that it's called Driven from Distraction. It's a series of books, and there's a form of ADD which I read, like, if you answer these 100 questions, more than 50 of them, if you answer them yes, definitively, you might have ADD. 98 of them, I answered yes. But there's a form of ADD for certain people that are high achieving and their brains are kind of wired differently, so I feel like I might have gotten one of those brains.
That's okay.
It's like
but you always come back to the topic that you meant to come back to.
I will not.
It's good.
We're coming back. So Commissioner Gordon was introduced in the '66 Batman, became very popular in the show, and then they worked him in to the comic book. So it's interesting. I feel like it's kind of cool. Like everybody sort of contributes something to the mythos. So wait, why are you laughing, Rican Kid 860? Why are you What are you laughing at? I want to know why you were laughing earlier. Did I say something funny? Because I like to remember what it is.
Yes.
it's a funny. I'm just naturally kind of spastic. I am not a clown, but I do have other Twitter accounts just because there's other. Bat Chris Gore is one, Zombie Chris Gore, and, but I do some stand-up shows. I also do some improv at IO West. If you live in LA, or you can go to, I think it's just iowest.com. Look up IO West. It's on Hollywood Boulevard.
Letter O.
West. Yeah, I've done a couple shows. I do a show called Glory Stories where I interview adult film actresses and then about stories from their life, and then improv comedians come out and they act out stories based on what they said. I also have done a show a couple times called Comic Book Live where I dress as Batman, and then I do some jokes related to it's a dumb bit, and then what happens is the improv comedians come out and they basically create a comic book live. So there's sort of a weird inspired stories. Like we just did this thing where I get up and basically it's like, I get up and I do like Batman at a bad open mic, and I make all the mistakes that Batman makes, or that most comedians make when they first do stand-up comedy. Like I'll get up and go, "Hello, folks. How is everyone doing in Gotham? I'm really nervous. I've never done this." And then I start to do like stand-up comedy. Like, don't you just hate when you go to Jack in the Box? And there's that clown, and I'm so nervous. And then I'm looking at cards because, like, sort of bad, comedians will look at the cards. So I'm holding cards, and there's bat logos on the back of the card, like Batman prepared for this. And I'm reading, and I'm like, butlers. I forgot the punchline. And then Batman gets really frustrated, so he starts doing push-ups. So I start doing push-ups as Batman. And I'm like, I can do this. So it's just Batman making all these mistakes, and he says, "Okay, my name's Batman, thank you," and it's just horrible jokes that Batman would tell
because he's Batman.
Yeah, exactly.
He's doing stand-up comedy. He's
doing stand-up comedy because they get up, tell a little bit about yourself, like where you're from, but then we ended up doing this thing where improving an episode of a show called Gothamville: The Adventures of Batboy, just to show how bad that would be if that were an actual idea. And so it would end up being like, it's this, one of the actors in the show looks he's got his hair that kind of goes like this into his face. He's kind of gothy looking. So we put this hat on him. And you can look it up. I think there's actually pictures there's a Facebook group for Comic Book Live. Just look up Book Live, Batman, or use my name. So we acted out in an episode of Gothamville: The Adventures of Batboy, and it's Bruce Wayne in high school, and he's a goth kid.
Oh boy.
And he's just a kid who's like, he's like sitting there, my parents are dead. So everything is like, my parents are dead. All the goth girls think he's cute. He's very confused. He's wearing this hat with a bat logo on it. It's like, it's dumb just to show like how stupid that would actually be. And when Helix Taco, I appreciate you saying that. I am kind of fun to hang out with. I am kind of my favorite, exactly. He could be, no, that definitely came up. Team Batman, Team Bruce Wayne is not Batman yet. He goes to school with this truancy officers, like the hall monitor, Jim Gordon. I mean, it's all like, we're like all the stupid things that might actually, like, it's a bad, thank you. So yeah, like, by that I mean, like, I like to just talk to fellow nerds about nerdy things, like showing you the trick with the lightsaber. Is like, it's a dumb trick. Get a lightsaber. I'm sure some of you have
started doing it now.
Like the jocks pick on him, so he starts to lift weights. It's like really stupid. So
I love that the jocks call him Bruce Wine.
Yeah, Bruce Wine. Oh, that's good. See, but this is like in improv comedy. It's basically because improv comedians are effectively they're writing a live show. But I also think that I got in an argument with, I don't know, do any of you know who Matt Besser is? He's a comedian and known for improv. He created the USB, because I like USB drives. The UCB Theater, which was created in Chicago, and then they're not only in Chicago, they're also in New York, and they're in LA, and they teach classes in improv comedy. If you want to be an improv comedian, improv actor, it's a good place to go. And it's open to anyone. And people that have come from there have been people like Tina Fey, and just like so many people have come from the UCB theater that that are brilliant improv comedians. So Matt Besser does a podcast called Improv for Humans. It's spelled improv, the number 4, and then humans. I met Matt and I said, I do a bit in my stand-up where I talk about how I hate improv comedy, which would only be funny in Los Angeles, by the way. No one else is going to appreciate it. But I said that we're doing a Podcrash episode where I take audio from that. But my basic argument is improv is not dangerous. You're doing it in a safe environment. You're doing it with other improv comedians who agree to play into this bit.
Right, and just go with it.
What I like to do is do improv in real life. I'll give you an example. And if you listen to Podcrash, you'll hear more of this.
Speaking of improv in real life, Doug Blackman during the Moonwalk.
Behind us. But here's what I think. So, I like to do improv where I just mess with people in real life. So, for example, try this out. It works with anyone. Thank you, Ocean Chevy. I agree with you. This sound. If I say to you, here, Courtney, could you grab my phone?
Totally.
Ah!
Oh, yeah, I think you told me.
You say the sound to anyone, there's something primal about that sound. It makes anyone stop because it's something you heard as a kid.
Right.
You heard
said, no.
Your parents said, no. So what I do is I like to do that to people at the grocery store that I don't know. They're just going to pick up the butter, and I'll say, ah! Or friends will say, ah! And people you don't know will freeze. Why are they listening to me? They don't even know who I am. I've done it to cops before. I've actually done it to a cop. I was about to hand, I was pulled over for something stupid. I don't know. The cop let me go. But I was about to hand the police officer my driver's license, and I said, ah! And there was, he stopped. Because it's in your head in a primal way. So I like to do improv comedy in a real setting where no one agrees to play. I have a really funny thing that I do on first dates, but you have to listen to my podcast to find out. Yeah, it'll be the Improv for Humans episode, which will probably go up in the next couple weeks. So, and also Podcrash producer, podcast, it's the... I don't know what you're saying, Ocean Chevy. Yeah, so...
Have you ever done the one... I've seen the video of, the guy in it who would go up to people and be like, bang! And people would just, reflectively be like, oh!
Right,
and,
anyone...
Go along with
it's like the high five.
Yeah.
People doing high five, and we're like, that's improv in real life, because it's... this shirt is...
Lawnmower. I get it.
I bought that at Comic-Con. Bought the shirt at Comic-Con from a company, and I'm sure if you look up Darth Vader t-shirt Mo, you'll find it. I forget the company. It's I Love. They were the ones that had all the great Hello Kitty and My Little Pony stuff.
Just Google it, people.
Although I just found out what brony is, and but yeah, if anyone has any questions, because I feel like I really talk too much.
It's about 30 minutes. We've been good.
I'm excited about. You're talking about the new Godzilla that's being made now. I don't know yet. I'm going to wait for the first trailer. I just did a podcast. I don't know if you guys are Paul Scheer fans. Yeah. I did his podcast, How Did This Get Made? So I think it might be one of the last couple podcasts I did, which Carla Martin 69 is going to listen to tonight. Carla Martin 69.
She'll do it.
I feel like this is sort of like what it's like when they did those, because the display, I don't know how it displays for you guys, but displays almost kind of like the Brady Bunch, where it's like, here's the story.
Yeah. You know what screen they're on? Sometimes sometimes they're in a square. Sometimes they're in a box of 6. So
wait, I'm going to go this way. No, it's this way. Okay, that's stupid. Anyways. Yeah, am I Alice in the Middle? That's funny. I don't know. The thing is, on How Did This Get Made, we talked about the 1998 Godzilla with Matthew Broderick. So there's no one. Is Sarah really nice? We're just on camera. She is really nice.
She is.
In fact,
she was here yesterday.
Everyone on the show, I've never worked with a group of people that was more fun, that were cooler than all the people that I work with. There are no prima donnas. We all like each other outside of work. Yeah, I don't really have anything.
Everyone's awesome.
Dirt. The thing is, I put all my dirt on Twitter. All right. And if you follow me on, at that Chris Gore, you'll see me in a slave Leia outfit. So yeah, it's too long of a story, but that'll be explained in a future podcast. Hey, thanks, Helix Taco. Cool. Yeah. I don't know when the Godzilla teaser will be released. I'm
not soon enough.
Yeah, but I've not been looking at Twitter, not been reading Twitter because of The Dark Knight Rises. Twitter and the internet. I feel like I'm actually going on an internet, freeze until it comes out, because I think someone tweeted or someone posted here that Dark Knight Rises spoilers are already leaking because they've been doing screenings starting over the weekend. I know people have seen it, and I can't. I can't. I already feel like I know a little too much, so it's not smoker voice. It's actually dehydrated voice. Okay. It's just because of Comic-Con.
It's not Comic-Con flute nerd.
No, it's just I talk too much at Comic-Con, and then I'm just dehydrated. My voice is kind of it does have sort of a little cadence like that, but it's, Alex Jones is ripping on it? Oh man, no, don't tell me anything.
Yes, no spoilers.
No spoilers. I know I'm not saying anything. I moderate Comic-Con panels when I'm asked. I mean, I'm a little tired, but I'm not, trust me, it's a good tired. It's I had a really good time tired.
Con hangover.
I hope they never come out with Inception 2. I don't think, in fact, I do a bit in my stand-up about Inception and how it's the dumbest idea for a movie ever. Mm-hmm. You gotta see my stand-up.
There we go.
Which I'm trying to work on a title for the album, and I think I might have it.
So is your album all comedy, or do you do music?
Well, no, I don't do music. Although I do sing the theme song for my podcast. But the panel, Helix Taco, were you at the panel at Comic-Con? Because one of the things that we're starting to do, you should know about this, starting in August, we're going to be doing Podcrash live at IO West on Hollywood Boulevard. It's a room, holds about 90 people, and we're going to be doing Podcrash live monthly. I don't know what it'll be like. I think it's the third Saturday, so I can announce it here. August 18th, 7:30 p.m., Saturday night. I would definitely do it on the East Coast. If we can do it in a venue that would fill enough people that would make it financially possible, I am talking about doing Podcrash on the road. Yes, Inception's that dream movie.
Yes.
Tresson won. Dream movie. Dude, come on. So yeah, I'm from the Midwest. I'm from Royal Oak, Michigan, just outside of Detroit. So, yes, I mean, yeah, that's the live version of Podcrash is different, because what happens is it's actually I think it's kind of funny. What happens is I introduce the show, I do a little bit of, a little stand-up-ish kind of talky intro thing. Then I introduce the people doing the podcast. They come in, and we actually have a table with people with headphones, and they do their podcast. Right. But I come and sit down with them, and they introduce me as their guest. Mm-hmm. I sit down, and then I do their podcast. And then what happens is this piece of music will play that is the indicator that it's the part where I tell you what I'm really thinking, or a little behind the scenes anecdote. Right. Then I run to the other side of the stage, get up to the stand microphone, and I go, oh my God, this podcast is going awful.
Yes. He's an idiot. He doesn't know anything.
Then the music plays back. I talk for maybe 90 seconds. Then I sit back and then do the podcast after saying that. And it's really funny, awkward. It's live. It's a really fun show.
That does something.
So if you can listen to an example of it, I did it. We tested it at the Phoenix Comic-Con, which there's a Phoenix Comic-Con episode. It's a podcast, and it's a cosplay podcast. So just look up you'll find that. Just download the Carla Martin 69, who I thought we were friends at the beginning of this. She has not downloaded or subscribed, or she hasn't even written a good review of the podcast, which you should honestly do after you've listened
she's watching
a couple
you right now, but
episodes.
Maybe she can't multitask.
Cosplay is for Dart Slacker is you dress in a costume and you
dress in a costume.
You dress in a costume. For example, I have a couple costumes I've done. I do play. Well, I just dress up for fun. Not what you guys think. I dress up as Batman getting off work. But it's the worst. It looks like I got my ass kicked. I mean, I'm bleeding. I have one black eye. There's blood here. I've got my arm, like, it's just, I think I might have pictures, like, I think I got pictures, like, it's on, like, most of the settings on my photo galleries are all, they're not, like, the settings are, like, you can see the pictures on Facebook of me. So, but I think I might have it here somewhere on the Batman stuff. It's, no, look, just look me up on that. So then I wore, this is for total nerds out there. I wore a blue, this is all I'm wearing. Blue shorts, it looks like I'm in blue swimming trunks. I have a white belt that has a 4 on it.
Okay.
I'm Ben Grimm on a bad cosmic ray day. And I went to this thing and I did this as a bit on a thing called cosplay karaoke. Uh-huh. You don't know about cosplay karaoke?
It sounds familiar.
It's at Meltdown. It's at Meltdown. If you live in Los Angeles, it's at now. The thing is, you can do any of this in your respective cities where you live. You don't need. But someone started a thing, cosplay karaoke, which people dress in cosplay costumes and sing, just do karaoke.
That sounds like fun.
So I was wearing these shorts with the white belt and the 4, and I get up and I sang Like a Rock. But the first thing I get up and I say, hey, look, cosmic rays are really unpredictable. It happens to a lot of superheroes. Apparently all my superhero voices are very craggy. I hope I don't run into the Yancey Street gang. And I come out with a cigar. I'm basically Ben Grimm. But, yeah. It was a funny bit. So actually, at the end of the Phoenix Comic-Con thing, I reveal this costume. I take my shirt off, I pull my pants down, and I actually have the Ben Grimm thing, because it's at the very end of the show, got huge, it was awesome, so you guys should listen to that live. If you want to know what the live show is like, it's always something slightly different. But, yeah, so, yeah. Yeah, I like to do funny things. Sometimes I'm funny.
Funny is fun. Funny is cosplay.
Look, most of my cosplay stuff is stuff that's just embarrassing to me, because I have that, I just don't care what people think of me.
But it's funny. But if you're going to go all out like that.
Yeah, I've always thought if you don't care what people think of you, it's like a shield that shields against bullying and words, and it's like that words will never hurt me. It's like, no, if you just don't care what people think of you, it's like having shields up. You're an idiot, and what I do is I just frustrate people that don't like me. Mm-hmm. It just really makes people mad. Exactly, Eddie Steak, Rican Kid 860, because I really feel that that's a thing that I think kids should be taught, seriously. Because I feel like there's certain messaging that is to little kids that are things like recycle, be yourself, which you're awesome. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you're awesome. I think we've got, but there's all this messaging that kids get at a very early age, and I think one of the things should be you don't want to care what people think. Now, that doesn't mean that you're not, considerate of others or disobedient. It's a very subtle thing. I would never clip my toenails on a flight. Right. Someone has done that in the seat next to me. Ew. It was gross. They were very inconsiderate. They were at a very highly evolved level of not giving a shit what anyone else thought of them. I like to be considerate of others. I don't know. I'm as weird as I am, I'm very much a manners guy. I'm very much a please and thank you for offering, and those are good things. But because I don't care, it's sort of a freedom artistically that it means you can do stuff, and you also have freedom to kind of fail at things and try stuff out. So that's why it's sort of difficult for me to describe when people say, well, what are you mostly? Well, kind of a writer, kind of a comedian. I do a podcast. I'm on Attack the Show every week. I'm working on a couple animated series at the moment, and I don't know what, so people just...
Smash up awesome.
Yeah, I've been described as just a Renaissance nerd, doing the Craft Holes show. So I'll take that. Thanks. But I thank you, Eddie Steak, again. Thoughts on Dirty Laundry? Dirty Laundry, the movie? The what?
I'm guessing the movie as opposed to actual Dirty Laundry.
No thoughts?
Punisher?
Yes. Punisher? I don't know. Oh, which one are you talking about? I like the one where the Thomas Jane one was cool. Mm-hmm. The Thomas Jane one I liked, especially how they upgraded the DVD version. The Blu-ray version of it was cool. So... Yes, I'm a media analyst. No, but even that's not. No, I don't know. Media analyst, Art Slacker. I'll just.
I like Renaissance Man.
That's fine, but then I feel like I'm a jerk saying that. I feel like I'm bragging. I feel like
it's always. You've accomplished. So.
Well, I don't know. Have I accomplished? I'm a guy that my manager's always like, I don't know either.
How to sell you?
How do you sell me? It's like, I don't know, I got this one thing to sell. Just go from project to project.
Jack of all nerds.
Yeah.
Nerd of all trades.
Yeah. But I feel that I like that kind of diversification because I like to know a lot about different stuff. Mm-hmm. So, favorite thing that I've done in my career, I think Film Thread is the thing I'm probably most proud of because I think that really helped, in indie film. It really helped support a group of indie filmmakers that were coming up at a time. For example, Chris Nolan, who I met at the Slamdance Film Festival years ago, where we were on a screenwriting panel together, and we got into a whole discussion about screenwriting. He made a movie called Following, which was his first feature film, which was we're talking about Christopher Nolan, the director of The Dark Knight Rises. Some of you might have tickets for this already. Chris Nolan made a movie called Following, which is very much like Inception. There's also a DVD, yes, before Memento, there's a DVD commentary track. What I also love about Nolan is not just that movie. It's basically like a low-budget Inception, but without all the big effects. And it's almost like when I was listening to the commentary track not too long ago, and it sounds like he's talking about Inception. Like, all the ideas are sort of seated in that. It's a black and white 16mm movie, and here's what's brilliant about Nolan. The way he financed the movie is that he was working a normal job over a summer. He could afford one 400-foot reel and of film stock and processing. So they would shoot on weekends, and when they ran out of film, it's like, we're done shooting. So he didn't go into debt. No, it's not in the Nolan collection. It is on Netflix, but I believe only as a DVD only. It's not streamable. And DVD, extras content is generally not streamable at all, which I think... Right. I'm still a Netflix fan. I'm not throwing in a plug. I'm just saying, I pay for the streaming and, look at all the content I get for that much money. Even if I only watch one movie, it's as cheap as just buying a movie. Yeah. When people are complaining, I'm like, do you understand what you get for $8 or $9? It's stupid. That was a PR disaster, in my opinion. They didn't know how to market themselves. So it was stupid. I still have Netflix, and I pay for Hulu, and I pay for a lot of these little ones because there's certain shows I want to see, and I'll a la carte buy stuff. I think that's the future. We need a box. It's just I can get HBO, I get the stuff I want, but then smaller channels would not survive, Food Network.
Yeah, because they wouldn't be able to reach out to people just browsing.
Exactly. Breaking Bad, always have loved it, can't wait. But the thing is, though, I have a problem with certain shows. I have a finite number of other shows I can watch at once because of my obligation to Attack of the Show. So that's one where I'll wait to the end, and then nearly the end, and then I'll watch them all. Okay. I know, it's weird. It really is a time management issue with stuff that I'm doing. I have to go, I love that show, I'm waiting. And that'll be a weekend. Or that'll be gotta paint the inside of this house, why don't I watch a whole series of this? Walking Dead, I can't wait, because we're going to see all the stuff that I think that's when the comic book got good. Yeah. Was right when they went to the prison. I think that's when it got, because whole sections of society and all these other new characters came in. So I cannot wait. I'm trying to steer clear of looking at stuff, but I'm super excited about Walking Dead. I have friends that work on it, and I'm going to Dragon Con, actually, where we'll also be doing Podcrash Live at Dragon Con in Atlanta, Georgia. So I'll be doing it in Atlanta. I don't know what podcast. Sorry. I don't know what podcast that I'll be crashing there, but
you'll find one, I'm sure.
I've actually been a zombie already. I've been offered the opportunity because I know people, I know Greg Nicotero and people work on Walking Dead. It's just that, in that heat, it's work. And I've been a zombie already. I was a zombie in the 1991 or 92 remake of Night of the Living Dead, directed by Tom Savini, starring Pat Tolman and Tony Todd. And I hung out on the set for 2 weeks. I got to meet George Romero because my friend was his personal assistant. So I slept on the couch of the makeup effects guys, made friends with them, and then I wrote a whole article in Film Threat magazine, and these pictures and stuff. This is, yeah. So, yes. What is the one show I want to be on? Is this, you're talking about podcast show? Carla Martin, 69, who will listen.
And any podcast.
The show, any show. Okay, I would want to probably be on Nerdist as a guest.
I could see that happening.
And everyone asks, and I know that Chris Hardwick's been bugged about it, like, how come you haven't had Chris Gore on Nerdist? Because I think most of the hosts from Attack of the Show, past and some present, have been on it, but I haven't. But I don't feel like I have I don't have anything yet. Like, I'm not at the level yet, you know? I feel like I have to have something to be on that show. Like, the big thing that I don't, so I haven't, I feel if I ask Chris, he would say, oh, of course, yes, we'll get it scheduled at some point, but I don't want to, I don't want to, like, I'm not really good at selling myself to people I know, because I feel like I'm imposing. So, when the album comes out, right, when the album comes out, then I would do it, and that and WTF and Kevin Smith, those are ones I would love to be on as a podcast. In terms of a TV show, I don't know. I haven't done any high kicks lately. Yeah. I know. Thank you, Tom0557. But I'm really weird about, like, I need someone else to ask for me. It's kind of like I have no fear when it comes to women. You know, like, I will talk to girls. I was even on one of the podcasts I was on was called the Pickup Podcast. I think this is one of my favorite of the Pod Crash episodes. It was a 2-part episode where I was on this podcast called the Pickup Podcast, which is about how to pick up girls. And these guys said that I'm kind of a natural. Like, I know how to pick up girls. Not for evil, for good. Wait, Freudian slip. Not for evil, for good. I'm in search of the love of my life. I'm not a jerk that way. So, but I was on this podcast and we talked about, like, things that we would do early on where men and women gameplay, and a lot of it is not even conscious. And these are the same guys that, like, did, like, that MTV show, and they really go into detail, and they bring in these people who come from all over the world. Some of these guys are like 30, 40-year-old virgins who are, just geeks who just never, they're people who, and the thing is, I find that I don't use those skills necessarily when it comes to women so much as, like, when it comes to just socializing with people. Like, I just like to talk to people, I like to hang out, and then people are like, you should do this thing, and I'm like, I don't know, maybe it'd be fun to do that part in the movie. Talk to you later. I am part of the show that's coming out called Chambers and Friends. It's a web series about podcasts, and it stars a bunch of comedians. Like, I'm in it playing myself. Like, all the other comedians are in it playing themselves. Chambers and Friends, there's a Facebook group. It's coming out in the fall. It's a podcast, so it's like a fictional podcast, and then there's a web series with all people from the world of podcasting. It's going to be funny. Like, the comedians they're lining up are amazing.
We're going to have to wrap it up soon.
You're going to have to, of course. Okay, yeah. Oh, sorry, yeah. So, Portlandia, love those IFC shows. Yes. What was I talking about? I actually forgot. I was building up to something.
Nerdist being
Nerdist, yeah, big Nerdist. So this Pickup Podcast, here's what's interesting. The Pickup Podcast ended up being 3 hours long. We cut it into like a 2-parter, but I had an ex-girlfriend of mine listen to the podcast with me. So I'm listening to a podcast where I'm talking about picking up girls and stories of what happened in my life, and she's listening to it going like, I remember that time in Vegas. You were an asshole. Like, and so it's like from her perspective, so it got like a male-female perspective on it. And we've since then become friends because I didn't see her for 3 years. It was a really horrible breakup, and we ran into each other and kind of reconnected, and I'm like, I can't just play this podcast where I'm a jerk. Hey, would you be on the podcast with me and just comment your perspective on these situations? I wanted a female perspective on games that men and women play and why it's so. I just think that living in Los Angeles is such a horrible place for dating. It's actually rated #1 the worst place to date. And so I'm going through a single period in my life, but I feel like I'm so busy I'm not really interested in dating, so I feel like I'm not free.
Things than dating. It's fine.
Like making craft projects or lightsaber pictures. Anyways, thanks a lot. The way you can find me at that Chris Gore, chrisgore.com. I like Chris Gore. Look for that on Facebook pages. Look, craft holes. Yeah, all the things that we talked about. Craft holes is fun on YouTube. Subscribe, all that stuff. Yes. Pod Crash, I think, is the main thing. If you listen to Pod Crash, you'll know all the live shows that I'm doing. I usually try to plug them about month or so in advance. So,
Awesome.
anyways, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Ocean Chevy, for that. And thanks everyone just for being nice. You guys are always really nice to me.
This was a lot of fun.
Although if you were mean, it wouldn't affect me.
No.
This is the other fun thing I can do. This is another one of those tips. One last thing. Can I do one last?
Go for it.
Okay. This is what I love to do. All right, I take people's. So I'm like, Courtney, can I borrow your phone? Oh, I gotta just borrow your phone just for a sec. And I'm like, you might be aware you've set your phone down. I'll take your phone and I'll take a picture. So this is Courtney's phone. I'll take a picture of this and I won't say anything. All I do is I do a close up of my belly button with my finger sticking in the belly button, so it looks like this. So without explanation, there is a weird finger going into a hairy, holy, fleshy place.
And just on the phone.
And it's just on the phone. She has no idea what happened. It's weird. I will take pictures with friends, things, and
just break them out.
Yeah, I know. There's another one that's more complicated. You know what? Next time. I gotta go. Later.
All right. Thanks everyone for coming.
Thanks everybody.
Next time.
Well, let's get out of here.
All right. Shoot.
What's that a reference to? You have to listen to my podcast to figure it out. Later.